people, were saying, hey, because I don't want to do, they didn't want to be hypnotized because they didn't want to do something that, like, no, I don't want to be made a fool of. He said, it is impossible to make a person do something that's not in them. So when somebody else, if you ask Tab what she thinks, again, you may use Tab as your reason to go ahead and do it, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it helps when you feel like somebody thinks like you think, right? And then, of course, especially if you care about what I think, and then I'm telling you, like, oh, you know what? I don't think that's such a bad idea. You got to do what you do. You're grown. You know what I'm saying? This, that, whatever. As long as it's something you're comfortable with and stuff like that, then, yeah, you would have been influenced by me, but I really just validated something that you were already thinking. You just wanted to make sure somebody else agreed.
Control. Control.
Well, is it control, or is it that I'm looking for
seeking validation?
Seeking validation, and also sometimes, again, because even after somebody tells us want something, if we really don't want to do it or do it, we go against it anyway.
Yeah.
But
it's just weird. Like when I think of I just like when I'm reading and trying to do research for this show and certain topics, and I have to read and I have to look and I have to kind of like just be like. And you're just reading the news, even me looking up articles about anxiety or whatever I'm looking up, it's always something negative in like, oh my God. And I'm like, okay, is this why they put the positive stuff 10 minutes before the newscast go off? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is? It's so many beautiful things that I've read that people have done. And and like I said, I guess the negative sells more. But it's like, damn, like, let that person be recognized for that. If it's not well received, at least you put it out there. You know what I'm saying? It's just weird.
But that's what that goes again to whether or not you do something for the joy of it, or whether or not you're pandering for the response of others. And anytime you're doing that, it's gonna go either way. Sometimes they're gonna like you, sometimes they're not. And if you're okay with the fact that, okay, as long as I know I did a good body of work, right? Like when you're asking for feedback on the YouTube channel, whether they agree with something, and even if they come back with some comments and things like that, if you know you put out good work, you're going to take that with, as they say, a grain of salt. Like, okay, I understand what you're saying. I take it, and it could even be good feedback. But if I'm secure in, I know I did good work. So some stuff, it just, I think they call it the peanut gallery, where, sometimes people just in the background making noise. And it doesn't necessarily sway something one way or the other. It's okay, you gave me your opinion on something. I went back and re-looked at what I did. I like what I did. Thank you. And moving on.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it'll get better one day where people start showcasing more good things.
It actually is. It just depends on where you're looking too, though.
Where?
But I was gonna say it depends on where you're looking, because again, like a lot of times people will tell me, "Well, you don't watch the news. Like, how you know what's going on? You can still know what's going on without watching the news."
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that I don't keep up with certain events and like I got my head in the sand. But I'm very particular. I'm even very particular with certain conversations that I listen to. I would literally be in a conversation with somebody. They go off and talk about, well, this happened to this person, all those stuff. And I promise you, even though I'm there, I'm really not.
Zoned out.
I am only because I'm protecting my psyche, because that stuff collectively, it does impact you. And you'll be surprised how you're wondering why you're depressed all of a sudden. Because you got all that other stuff that's finally in your psyche playing against the conversation you're having about yourself when you're trying to figure it out, the self-doubts that you naturally have as you're learning new stuff and coming up with your own confidence about things. And then you're thinking of the other 50 people who did it that it didn't work for, which had nothing to do with you, because you have no idea of the other 50 things that did work for them and that was meant for them and not meant for them in this case. You know what I'm saying? But you don't hear all that. All you hear is 50 people that didn't work for it, and then now, well, why should it work for me?
Why am I going to be the 51st person that I work for? Yeah. And it's a lot. And like, that's another thing we talked about. We talked about having a mental Rolodex.
Hey.
A mental Rolodex, what does a Rolodex do? It eventually comes back around to those same things. And she was asking me, well, how did you deal with such and such growing up? And I'm like, well, I kind of stored everything that happened to me back in the back of the middle Rolodex. And she was like, "You don't think when you keep turning that dial on the middle Rolodex, it ain't gonna come back and just boom, there's the card right there in front of you?" I'm like, "Damn, this woman is good." You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't, you know, when I say middle Rolodex, if you know what a Rolodex is.
For those of you who was born 2000 and after, you might not.
You might not know what a Rolodex is.
But Google it.
Yes. But you know, when you turn it a dial on that Rolodex, it always eventually comes back up again to that first number or whatever you have in your Rolodex. I was like, damn, she's so right. Because if you keep storing stuff back there, it circles back around anyway.
Well, but one of the things you brought up, which was very good, was of course the subconscious is really the superconscious because all they hold, right? It never gets rid of anything, and I don't think it's about necessarily that it goes away, but it's about today. The way you look at something that happened to you when you were 5 today versus when you were 5 looking at it. At 5, I can't process, you know, the fact that somebody else had a certain lifestyle that led them to do some other stuff that influenced them to do some other stuff, and then now it was a collection of something that's impacting me as a 5-year-old, right? All I know is that you're doing something crazy, right? I don't even know that it's crazy, more or less. I know it don't feel good,
right?
Which is my first indicator that this is not right.
It's not right.
Okay. Now, fast forward 40 plus years later, I'm looking at something that happened, and again, not condoning what happened. But when you look at what influenced that person to be who they were, do you wish that they had made different choices based on what happened to them? Yeah, but again, at that age that things happened to them, they weren't at an age to process it correctly either. So whereas some people go down the line of, okay, that happened to me, I'll never do that again. And they literally never do it again. They may even help people to make sure that it doesn't happen to them. And then you get some people where it happened to them and they think that that's how it's supposed to happen. So they actually continue to perpetrate the behavior because that's how they translated the event.
Yeah. Crazy. That's
amazing, actually.
Listen, let me know your thoughts about so much negativity in our world today versus positive. Do you think it's okay to have the negative stuff to feed off of when you're watching these ratchet shows and people beating up on people and stuff and all that stuff? Do you think it's cool? Or would you like to hear some positive things for a change? 213-292-7694 is the number. 213-292-7694. I'd love for you to chime in on the negative versus the positive if you want to chime in on that.
Yeah, let us know how you balance it, right? Because I like a good drama, you know what I'm saying? And then I love some good comedy too.
I mean, yeah, we're talking entertainment because that's what it's here for. Yeah, I mean, you know, you like I'm, okay, it's going to be real transparent right now. You know, I watched The Young and the Restless, right? I still watch it to this day.
Drama. The original
drama.
It's not reality, but
right, it's drama.
We can see where they get it from.
Right, thanks Grams for putting me on that. You know, when I was younger, my grandmother she used to make me watch it like before I was able to get a TV in my room. You want to watch this? Then all right, cool. So then I start watching it, and then we talking about it like two cackling old ladies. So I'm like, well, what Victor's gonna do? Why you do that to her? And why Nikki did this? And why Victoria sleeping with that? Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah. But I'm stuck.
You signed up for it.
So I'm just like, oh, this is really good. So it's good drama. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get it when I go to a movie. I want to see a good movie with, and I love horror. You know what I'm saying? I love Nightmare.
Really?
Oh, I love horror.
Okay.
I'm a horror fanatic. I love horror films. And I would sit there and watch all 9 of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I would do the Jasons. I would do the Michael Myers. I would do all of them. And I know that's definitely negativity watching people get murdered. You know what I'm saying?
Chainsaw.
Right.
Do you check the chainsaw too?
He alright. You know what I'm saying? But it was the Saw trilogy, so oh God. They was killing themselves. Oh, those Saw movies. But yeah, I like a good entertainment, but we talking about real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes.
Where do you think they get the storage from?
I don't know. There's some good writers out there.
But they still had to come from something.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff I was watching the Never Sleep Again documentary. This is a documentary on Nightmare on Elm Street, how the character was born and all this stuff. And Wes Craven was like, you know, he got it from a real life situation. He was in Japan, and the guy, one of the guys, it was a young guy, and he was telling his parents when he go to sleep, something was attacking him, right? And they would give him sleeping pills, and he wouldn't take the sleeping pills. And he would have a coffee pot in his closet trying to stay up all night. And then once he fell asleep, they heard, the parents heard a loud thump on the floor, and there was him dead. They found him dead. So Wes was like, I wonder if something was chasing this man or if he just some kind of disease. I guess they didn't know what the issue was. And he was like, so my imagination went to, what happened if something or some entity was after him in his dream? And that's how he created that character, Freddy Krueger. And he took his childhood bullying experience. A dude named Freddy bullied him in school. And he put the Freddy, that's how he, so a life experiences, I guess, will give you those things, that material to go off of. But I'm like, it all can't be negative. Like, I'm like you. Can somebody tell me how to balance it? I just want to know where the balance is. But if you think about it,
I think that is the balance, because that's something that you enjoy, right? Because you know it's not quote unquote real in a sense, right? So the balance there is, I can walk out of the theater and know that, okay, far as I know, that's a story on the screen. Right. Even when it's based on a true story, you still know they took some liberties with it because it's a movie. They changed some stuff. They even tell you, hey, we changed some stuff. We did this stuff to make it fit for a movie TV, and all that type of other stuff. But I think that's part of how you balance real life events too. So, for example, we will look at mass shooting like that recent one that happened, right? Now, millions of people are leaving the planet one way or the other every day, like every hour, every minute, and all that other stuff, right? Yeah. And you don't even really give a second thought about it, even though you know it's happening, right? But because something is right in front of you, you pay attention. You're paying a lot more attention to it. Then, of course, you assign more personal stuff to it because now it's the same race. In your case, it's a guy, a young man that might have gotten, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. So you start taking it on and identifying with it. Yeah. And then at that point, you're going down a whole other road about it, because now, well, you know, now it's like you're speaking for all, just because this person did the shooting, now you're speaking for all black people and all that other stuff. Whereas, again, you have a situation where they're doing wars, dropping bombs on people and all that stuff. And guess what you say? Well, hey, I'm glad to be in America, the home of the free. I'm glad freedom ain't free and all that other stuff. But that's still a mass killer. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So any way you look at it. So the fact that we're able to kind of, identify what's kind of hitting close to home enough so that it doesn't make you so crazy about everything, because then you would probably be on this never-ending cycle of just thinking that something always is happening. But to be able to detach a little bit and to stand on understanding that, not to sound crass about it, but the cycle of life is you're going to leave here one way or the other one day and one way. You know what I'm saying? Some of it is, and believe it or not everybody want to pass away in their sleep. True. Right? And I'm not saying that anybody wants to pass away by being shot or whatever like that, but I'm just saying the circumstances are, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of that type of thing where you literally have to sit back. Because I ain't gonna lie, I always think when people say, well, you know, when it's your time, it's your time. Well, if this happened, was that the time?
Obviously it was.
But then we act surprised.
Yeah, that's true. For people who use that statement, yeah. Right. Like, I can't believe that happened. Well, you're one saying when it's time, it's time. Right. Yeah. I used to literally, I know this is off, but I used to think, because I'm a thinker, I used to think that when we came out and got all the birthday stuff, okay, I used to think immediately, this is me just, I used to think God would go down and be like, okay, let me go ahead and get the expiration date and write it down. I thought that too. I used to literally think, like, okay, so I'm gonna birth you this day.
Because what they say, he know when you're coming, he know when you're leaving.
So I was like, I wonder if he already then wrote down the expiration date or when it's time for me to check out. You know what I'm saying? Like, did you do that? And I used to wonder that. I used to think that was so weird. I'm like, why am I thinking like that?
I thought like that too. Like, okay, because I'm gonna be honest with you. When the first time I heard somebody say that when it's your time or something like that, I forgot how I heard it the first time. I literally was thinking, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, cause if it's my time tomorrow,
You out of here.
like, well, what does it matter that I do today?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
This
I
circle
used
of
to,
life
yeah.
is weird. I'm
It
like,
is.
if it's divine entity that God has put His hands on me and gave me a birth date and an expiration date, because shoal as it is, your ticket can be punched at any second.
Right, which is why I used to love, and again, we kind of a little off, but that's why I loved that movie, which is to me kind of horror, Final Destination.
Oh my God!
'Cause it was
no,
kinda
man.
like
that was a good
was-
trip. Those are good movies.
Because now to me that was true to the point where like when it's your time, it's your time. Okay, no, you went on that plane that crashed, but then you're gonna fall down the steps, and you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? Because it's time for you to get there.
Yeah, that was some good writing.
So I thought
Ooh, I
that
love
was an
those.
interesting
Yeah.
point on it.
Yeah, so yeah, weird. Yeah, let me know your thoughts again on negative versus positive. 213-292-7694. Again, 213-292-7694 if you're interested in chiming in on that. So we're gonna shift here a little bit and we're gonna talk about therapy a little bit, right?
Yes.
So again, we are in a space where we have normalized getting therapy amongst the Black community and the you know, other minority communities. Thank God we're there. But the devil's advocate in me just had a question. Is therapy is it a necessarily need for therapy, or is it a want, or is it even necessary at all?
Both.
Okay, break that down for me.
I found this on the web.
Because some people need it, right? Like in the case where sometimes you need to have an objective conversation with somebody, right? That when you're thinking certain thoughts, you literally need somebody who is not connected to you or the event to give you a unbiased type of feedback,
Okay,
right?
stop right there. So you said we need somebody to give us an unbiased thought about the process or the whole thing that you went through, right? So why don't we run to the nearest family member or friend to tell our business to instead of holding it in and saving it for a therapist? So we don't go, because normally if you have something you're fighting with, the first person you're going to is either God or Jesus. Then you're going to go to a human. It's going to either be a family member, friend, or somebody. You start spilling it, right? And then their opinion gets affected in your thought process. And it's like, damn, I should have just went to see the therapist in the first place because now I'm all confused. Why do we run to a person other than a professional?
Because I want to go to somebody that connects to me that I think knows me, right? Because I think that if you know something about me, then you may give me information, like you got insight into knowing that, okay, Tab, you normally, let's say, avoid confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
You know this about me because you've been around me.
Yeah.
The therapist only knows that if I tell them. Now I might describe
This is
some
true.
events and they may come to that conclusion.
Right.
But you have been around me. You know my pattern of behavior. You are already knowing, okay, Tab don't like confrontation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when I come to you and I bring up something, you're in a position to give me some personal feedback, some biased feedback, actually. Now, whether or not, I think it's still incumbent on you to feel like whether or not you got what you needed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best part about being really grown and spiritually grown, where even if G tells me something that I don't necessarily like on what he said, like Tab, you know, maybe you should be a little bit more assertive, right? Now, the defensive part of me might just be like, well, you know, why are you telling me or whatever like that? But once you get spiritually grown,
Yeah.
you take that information, and if it has some validity, you take it and you say, okay, well, what can I do to tell me how you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If I don't think it has no validity, I say, okay, well, thank you. And I might still ask you for some other information just so you'll know that I heard you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if I don't identify with it, just like if I'm talking to a therapist, if I don't identify with what they're saying, I'm going to go find me another therapist.
Right, which is the reason why I asked this, because again, when searching for a therapist, it's hard work to search for a therapist. Because again, being that I deal with healthcare, I hear these requests from these people and what they're looking for. Like, I'm looking for a Black woman, I'm looking for a Black man, or I'm looking for somebody that utilizes religion into their therapy. Like, I encourage people, when you're diving and looking for your therapist, research your therapist and get all the checkpoints that you need to make your journey a little helpful. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard. Because like if you sit there just going to people that have availability because you just need to talk to somebody or whatever, you might not like what this therapist this is doing for you. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like going to a dermatologist. Now this is gonna sound real funny, but be with me. I have a lot of patients that I talk to that say that are black. I want to talk to a black dermatologist because they don't know my skin. Well, what makes you think that? Just because they're white, they may not studied your skin type. What makes you think? But I'm not asking. I just do what they tell me to do. Now you could have missed out on the dopest therapist because you automatically throwing a judgment out there. Not therapist, dermatologist, because you just seen the outer appearance and don't know what this person has to offer. You get what I'm saying? So it all ties into when you're selecting your therapist, you have to be mindful of what you want, what you need, because at that point you can't be selfish, because it's about you. You should be definitely selfish when it comes to you and your therapy. But I asked the question because I know people's like, even on one of the clips that I was editing today about therapy, I don't know if you saw it, but you probably did. There was like, I don't need a therapist. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you feel like you don't need a therapist? Because most therapists are crazy. Why do you feel that way? I should have had this buddy to answer that question. But some people feel like they literally don't need help.
Well, and that comes from, again, sometimes you're groomed to deal with things on your own, and sometimes maybe you don't. But if I got friends I can talk to, I may not need it to the level of a professional. But what's interesting about what you said about people calling in to get a therapist, they got a whole list of things that they want. That's literally looking for somebody that they connect with. Yeah. That's why you go to family, because you connect with them.
Yeah, but
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the family don't be doing what they supposed to be doing.
Well, in some cases they do, but I'm gonna go to most of the time, just like me, I know you too, right?
Yeah.
So I know if I call you, you give me some no nonsense, because I may just wanted to hear some more nonsense just so I can validate. No, it ain't me, it's you. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I know that people in my circle, we have very specific things that each of us bring to the table, right? Yeah. So when I want to have a conversation about someone who is a little bit more assertive and direct with some stuff, I might call Carolyn Nicole.
Damn, you gonna say that woman whole name?
I'm just saying. But if I want to maybe have a conversation about something that maybe I want some fluff, and I'd probably call me if I wanted fluff. But recognizing what everybody what they bring to me is similar to if I'm looking for a therapist, I'm going to recognize what you have to bring to the table, because like you said, even on something with the dermatologist, she could have been like the person who was the Nobel Prize for skin grafts and all those
know how to kill keloids in their traps.
You know what I'm saying? Things like that. But I think people are looking for somebody that could relate, like, for example,
visually
person. Right. Because even though you studied this, you don't know what it is to be ashy.
Right.
Like if I said ashy to you, you probably wouldn't even know what I was talking about. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming, but even that is an assumption, because I'm assuming that because you and I have the same skin tone and we have the same experiences.
That's all I'm saying.
And that ain't always the case, because sometimes you get one that looks like you and you're like, what the heck?
Right.
Who are you?
Mm-hmm. What are you doing with yourself? Yeah, I'm with you. And it's like, it's just the whole weird thing when it comes to doing this. I lost my train of thought. I was going to say something, but I've gotten to the point where I don't even solicit opinions no more. I can't.
Okay.
Because everybody's going to have a different thing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be based off of how they feel when they're giving me their opinion.
Right.
So it's like, I don't even look for it anymore.
Okay.
Like, I try not to, unless I literally have to go call my mama. She gonna tell me to pray on it. I already know. Pray on it, baby. It's gonna be okay. I'm like, that ain't what I wanted to hear, but I get it.
You called her and you knew that's what she was gonna say.
Well, in most cases, I don't know what she's gonna say, but in some cases, I know what she's gonna say. But in just because, again, I'm one of those people. I'm very focused on not intervening and throwing my problems on my friends or family. Like, I don't need to throw my stuff on them and not knowing what they're dealing with internally or externally themselves. You know what I'm saying? So if I do have to end up going to speak to somebody, of course, hey, can you spare a little moment for me? Do you have a little mental block that you can deal with my stuff
Some
first?
spare mental space.
Just some spare mental space. I can just unload on you for a second.
Did
and
you
if it's yes or no.
ever think though sometimes that when someone is telling something for you that they're getting just as much out of it? And it might not be the exact same situation. Like, let's say, for example, you're having work problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm having money problems.
Okay.
Now, even though those are two distinct issues, one has nothing to do with the other. Yours has to do with a coworker who not pulling their weight. Mine is just money. I'm trying to figure out how to make ends meet, right?
Yeah.
So, but at the core of most of the issues, the base of it is kind of the same, where you start to look at, okay, well, what am I doing in the situation? Like, what am I doing with my money? You might be looking at, what are you doing in the situation with the coworker?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the basis of it a lot of times, and the reason I tell my friends, I tell my coworkers and stuff like that, I'm learning most of the time when I'm talking to you, because again, it might not be that specific incident, but
Yeah.
most life experiences have a common thread. You know what I'm saying? They don't look the same in the sense that, again, yours may be a coworker situation, mine may be a money situation.
Mm-hmm.
But at the core of it, we're both trying to figure out what can we do, first of all, to better the situation. What do we do to put ourselves in that situation?
Yeah.
And then, you know what I'm saying, what is the next move, so to speak? And me telling you, you know what, did you ever ask the coworker, I might think to myself, well, dang, I could call the credit card people. I mean, all they can do is say no.
Right.
And I'm telling you, well, why don't you ask the coworker?
Right.
All she can do is say no. Light bulb go off for me.
Yeah.
Ding. So I think it's a delicate dance that both people end up winning in a lot of situations.
Okay. I mean, that possibly could happen if, again, I don't know what you're dealing with, but I am here unloading. And you're like, okay, I could be helping you with something that you haven't even mentioned.
Exactly.
To me. I don't know. But unless that's revealed to me that that's the case. But yeah, I think, to the original question, I think therapy is necessary on all levels. I think, again, I've always advocated for this, especially since I started going in this space. Like when we grew up, we had guidance counselors. And that's fine, you know what I'm saying? But now I think they should have, you can still keep your guidance counselor, but I think you should have a therapist there.
Yeah, I think because it depends on the level of what they're experiencing.
Yeah, so I mean, a guidance counselor is typically a college grad. They don't have therapy.
Well, I came from old school. We had
Right.
old college guidance counselor where they sat you down. I remember thinking that I wanted to go to this particular business college, right? Because I'm thinking, they advertise on the commercial, you can get a business degree in, I think it was 12 months. I'm like, well, I need to go to school for 4 years or whatever like that. And it was literally my guidance counselor that sit me down and was like, that's a business. He was like, that's a school, but their primary loyalty is business.
Yeah.
So, stuff like that, where that was something that I learned. And then he talked to me about, based on things that I wanted to do, how that's a better investment. And then he literally talked to me about some things that made me want to take the easy way out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, I think guidance counselors should be in schools along with, guidance counselors, I think therapists should be in schools. Now, especially now with the things that's going on with these new kids and the mind frame that they have now, they should at least be there a couple hours a day, or one day they have a session where these kids can book, I need to see a therapist.
I think they should do that at work too.
I think they should do that at work because the work-life balance is not right in the States. It is to be implemented. Schools, work, jobs even. We just said jobs, right? Mm-hmm. I'm tripping. Mm-hmm. Yeah, school, work. It needs to be available to everybody.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? Because what you may think may be something mediocre, you may need to speak to somebody about it to get the right guidance. You know what I'm saying? So
Agreed.
I think it's very necessary. For those who don't think they need it, tell me what you're doing, share it. Share what you are doing. So I don't need one. But as long as they here, I'm gonna take them.
Yeah. Well, I'll share what I do. I don't personally, or I haven't used one. I won't say that
You're
I
a
won't
different
need
person.
one.
She's a different person, America.
Well, but I use my other avenues too. You know what I'm saying? I have spiritual mentors. I have people that I will talk to. And to me, that's part of it. And then I do the work as well. Like I said, that's why when someone's having a conversation with me, especially, I definitely encourage feedback from me. Even with, I actually lead a team of 8 people. Part of my one-on-one engagements with them is I'm asking them, hey, what can I do differently? What is it that, do I talk too much? Do I send too many emails? Anything that you would like for me to know to help me grow and be a better person. I'm learning things as we go along as well. The fact that I have a certain title does not mean that I don't have room for growth, improvement, and stuff like that. So for me, I utilize a lot of resources. They don't have the title of therapist, but that's probably what I end up using them for.
Yeah. Okay.
Unpaid.
I feel that. Unpaid therapist. Okay.
Yeah, we do bartering.
Okay.
They have a conversation with me. I have a conversation with them.
So it's okay. The exchange system. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was good. So we gonna wrap up with this one here because I think this will be pretty good.
Okay, let's have it.
So I grew up in the era, and probably you was a little bit a couple years before me, so you're probably around the same era. Where when there were problems that were on the rise or something wasn't going your way, financial, personal, whatever, you were told the number one thing in the black household was give it to God. Pray on it. If you're in that spiritual realm, give it to God, pray on it, and wait for him to arrive or do whatever he's gonna do to change your whole avenue of thought now, right? So the question I have is, does prayer really change things, or do our actions change the avenue of the situation?
I mean,
I think it's going to be a kind of hard question to dance around, but...
No, it's actually both. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because you have to, for me, what prayer means is that I'm having a conversation or a dialogue with what I consider to be a higher power, right? Whatever name, title somebody used, because that's what you're praying when you talk about prayer, right?
Yeah, now when you say you have a dialogue, right? Okay. Because I've heard people pray, and I've heard people think they know how to pray, and it's not a dialogue. It's more so of a grant me session.
Well, no, you're speaking of one where people are begging for stuff all the time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's when I hear, most of the time when I hear people pray, they're not having dialogue. It's more so like, God grant me.
Well, but
give
if
me.
I'm saying grant me the serenity and stuff like
No,
that.
well, meaning I'm gonna need God. I need this. It's not. It's
well,
not
but
like
okay. So even if I take your definition of prayer, right, where I'm basically asking for something, right? I'm going, hey God,
No, I'm not saying that's what I do.
No. I'm saying this based on the accepted thing. Is that correct?
Go ahead.
When you're talking about the question that you're in the way that you're asking, like, is it a situation where you just keep asking for something, or do you have to actually do something in order to get?
I mean, if you're reading the good book or whatever book or whomever you read, we'll go off of King James. Because I know that one. Faith without works is what? It's dead. For those who know that. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. So when you're looking at that, it's like, okay, am I allowed to ask for these things? God, I need a new job, a new house, a new car, a new bankruptcy. I mean, a new bank account. I need X amount of zeros on the back of my check stub. I can't feed my kids today. I need whatever, right? But are you having dialogue, other dialogue? Like, how about I thank you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you for this, thank you for that. I appreciate this. Can you guide me in the way to do this? Or you just asking? Because, like, if I'm sitting here asking the Lord for a new job, new car, new money, new business, whatever I'm asking for, right? Am I putting in the work to do this? Or am I just simply asking for this stuff? So that's why I'm like, the prayer is, do you feel like the prayer is changing me without putting work in?
That's what when they sometimes they talk about blind faith, so to speak, from that realm. But a prayer, even if I'm going based on what you're saying, a prayer, I'm putting it out there, right, on what I want. And let's make it as selfish as I want a new house. God, I want a new house.
Is that selfish?
No. I'm saying that I'm not saying, well, thank you for waking me up this morning. Now can I have a new house? I'm literally saying, can I have a new house?
Okay.
Right? That's all I said. Got on my knees or however I did it. I want a new house. Now, based on how I have or what I subscribe to as how you get a response and information for something. Now, getting the new house may be you gotta end up with a better paying job that can let you afford the house, not the house dropping out of the sky.
Right.
Right?
Ooh. Sorry.
That's why I say that it takes both, because I can ask for something and I can just straight ask for it. I want a new house. Now, what is revealed to me on how to get the house, it could be as something as, you know me, I talk about winning the lottery all the time, right?
Right.
And there's this story that the guy kept praying to this saint, please let me win the lottery. Every day go by, did it for 10 years straight. Say the saint was a statue that you're supposed to be able to go to and pray on and stuff like that. Say the statue came alive and said, will you buy a damn ticket? You're asking me to do something,
right,
and I'll do it. You want it, but you have to participate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So
that's why I'm saying that it's both. Where even if you are one-mindedly asking for something, how it's revealed to you to get it, it's still going to require something on your behalf.
Some type of work, right?
Some type of work, whether it be mental work, physical work, something on your behalf in order for this transaction to be completed.
Right. Because before I started, learning and getting in touch with my spiritual side, I used to literally you get the normal prayer when you're growing up. God is great. God is good. That's the prayer for
That's
food.
That's the food, right? You're talking about now
lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul. That was the one they taught you when you were younger. I pray the Lord my soul to take. God bless you to my mommy, daddy, uncle, sister, brother, cousin. That's
good night, John.
Right. Good night. That's what you get.
Right.
But as we get older, we start looking at it, and then I'm sitting here still, like, Elle is the perfect person for prayer. Like, that is a prayer. Alexandria, you know who prayed when we was upstairs?
Mm-hmm.
That's prayer to me, because she was specific in her prayers, and it's just like she's doing the work. She'll do the work, and it made me kind of like, okay, I need to do the work to make this prayer come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when I looked up prayer, it was like it literally says a request for help or expression of thanks addressed to God or an object of worship. So it's literally saying a request for help or expression of thanks. So it's like you said, it's both. But I feel like if no work is put in, it won't happen.
Well, again,
because a lot of people are just praying.
Well, they're praying, but a lot of people too are responding in the way that they know how. Like, for example, if I'm saying I'm looking for a sign of something, right? God, show me a sign on how to get this house. I'm gonna take it back to something simple. Show me a sign on how to get the house. What our real job is to be receptive to our request. The asking it is given.
Mm-hmm.
It is the best sums up for that.
Receive.
Right. But I think sometimes we get fixated on how it's supposed to come, right? So it didn't the house I didn't wake up, get off my knees, and then I looked outside and there was a house. Or the keys to the house, right? But maybe you went to the store, you were hungry, you didn't know why you wanted to stop at this particular store, and you met a realtor.
Right.
And then the realtor, talking about first-time buyers program and things like that. But I think
divine entity.
I think not necessarily that people don't do the work, more or less sometimes they're looking for specific directions on what to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, if you
point me in the right direction.
Point me in the right direction. But then we don't recognize it because, again, it didn't come in just this big house dropping in my lap. Mm-hmm. It came in the form of me networking with some people that eventually, this person said, hey, I got this house. I'm going to be going away for 3 years. Can you stay in my house? It's a big house, 6, 7. You don't necessarily own it, but do you care? You're using it 3 years rent-free just because you're sitting in there, how your, what you're asking for can be revealed to you. I think that's where a lot of people don't do the work because they haven't saw where it was revealed the little things that might lead up to the big house.
Okay, and that's fair. You know what I'm saying? I just want to get clarity on it because, again, I've talked to some people that literally pray like that. Well, I'm going to pray and I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to, and I used to be one of those people who would pray specific and ask, financial stability, a nice house, nice car, blah, blah, nice job, but I don't have to go to work and be stressed just working, and things. And I used to didn't put any work into trying to make those things happen as well. I just kind of put them out there like, okay, it'll happen one day. And I'm like, nah, I need to, if I'm going to be specific in these prayers, I need to pray on it, let it go, and not harp on it, because I used to harp on the prayer.
So what did they say? A watch pot never boils.
Right. So I was sitting there like, okay, I prayed on this because it's going to happen. And, again, that's where faith comes into play and how much your faith is, you know what I'm saying? But I would pray on stuff and just I would pray on it and I would still let it worry me. Like, I don't know how I'm going to make this today or how I'm going to do this, if I'm going to make it through the day. But I prayed about it, so it should be okay. And I'm still just thinking about all of it all day, right? Instead of letting it go. So it was like now learning more and reading more. I am still specific in prayers, which you should be very specific in your prayers, whatever you're praying for. But don't think it's going to be handed to you with a silver spoon. You have to put in some kind of work, or the path will be made for you to go where you need to go. I always said this: if anything that has God's hands, or whoever your spiritual provider is, or whomever it is, if their hands is on it and it goes smoothly, it was meant for you to have it. But I used to be that person that wanted it immediately. And I feel like if I was that person that got it immediately, I wouldn't be appreciative of it.
Or sometimes you might not know how to handle it.
Or I wouldn't know how to handle it.
Because, I'm saying about lottery money, right?
Yeah, right. You better be able to handle it.
$100 million in the account. Woo!
You don't know how to handle that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah, you used to doing carry the one and carry this, carrying a whole bunch of one, stuff like that. So I think you get stuff based on your level of maturity. In some cases, but because we see people get it, but then maintaining it, or what they end up being compromised in the a lot of times they'll tell you like that it wreaked havoc on them where they don't even want it now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's why when people talk about more money, more problems. What? So so no money, no problems?
Right.
So guess what? No money is more problems. So you know what I'm saying? It's how you respond to all of it. It's a culmination of it.
I agree. If God gave me $20 billion right now, he better know I can handle it before he give it to me. Yeah. I'm not going to get that fool $20 billion and he can't handle it. So I'm going to wait when I know he comfortable enough to handle. And I didn't say million, I said billion.
With the B.
With the B.
I'm ready. God, if you're listening.
I feel you.
I've been practicing.
I think we all been practicing.
Exactly.
Because I used to really wonder, Lord, why wasn't I born into financial wealth like these Paris Hilton people and these Kardashian folks? Like, why was I born in that? He probably like, you probably would not handle it.
Well, and if you look at it, they still have their own set of life issues. That's the fairness of it.
Yeah.
Life don't care what you were born into, who your mama, who's your daddy, any of that.
I used to think that them people created their own problems though, because money was one of them.
Well, but they create some of their problems just like we create some of ours. Right?
Now, yeah, like maybe the attraction of trying to decipher who your true friends are with that kind of money. No, I'm just using that for an example.
I know.
I'm still trying to decipher who friends are. Shit.
Right.
I'm still trying to this day.
But I think that's the fairness of it all that lets you know that, again, life in itself doesn't play favorites.
Listen, I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. Listen.
And I appreciate life for that.
I mean,
I'd be kind of pissed.
Listen, the life. Life is something you need to.
You got all the money and no problem. Nah, come on.
Life is a boy. It's a journey, boy. And I mean, like you said, it could be worse.
Could be better.
Right. So, listen, y'all. It's been amazing. That was our time.
Oh wow!
But before we go, I'm about to treat y'all with something. It's called Tabs 2 Cents.
Oh, wow. Is that time yet?
It's that time.
Wow. Wow. Time sure flies when you're having fun.
It is. Mm-hmm. It's good conversation. So, listen, before we get out, I'm thinking y'all finna feel this for the first time on. I think YouTube getting it.
Yeah, we've done it a couple
getting
times,
it. We've
yeah.
done it. So make sure y'all listen to these 2 cents because that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? But my radio artists, they get treated to them all the time. But
Yeah, we try to do
the
it
future
all.
episodes is coming out tomorrow morning and Friday of Candid with my new co-host, Tabby. She gives the best perspective. This is why she coined herself Chief
Perspective officer.
CPO
CPO in the building.
In the building. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to her for another episode of Tabby's 2 cents. Tabby, take it away.
Thank you. And with that being said, thank you guys for the opportunity to share my perspectives on different things. Of course, they are just that, my perspective. What I hope they do is at least make you think a little differently. You can still maintain your own independent thought, which is what you should always do. But, you know, if I can help add to it a little bit, please feel free to, you know, let me know that, and also to give us some feedback on that. We talked earlier about positive versus negative. One of the best examples that I've got on that, about it being really subjective, right, and being more or less of a choice, is the difference between hot and cold, right? Hot and cold, based on the Fahrenheit, is X amount of degrees, you know, means it may be hot. X amount of degrees means it's low. However, but to the person, hot or cold is going to vary based on a lot of factors. Your skin type, you know, just how I'm usually, if you take a look at the shows, I have on a jacket or something a lot of time, because for the most part, I like to be on the warm side, right? Everybody around me might be piping hot. But that pretty much just means that it's all about how it's measured based on your personal experience with it. When it comes to positive and negative, it's about how you look at it, right? One of my favorite quotes from Wayne Dyer is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So it may be raining outside, right? But I could look at that as all the vegetation and everything that needs water to thrive, including us, the planet being 70% water. We'll never run out of water because we're 70% water, and all of the things that the rain feeds into, and it supports the ecosystem. Or I could look at it as, you know what, it's raining again now, you know, traffic in Atlanta is going to be even worse than it is on a sunny day, you know, and things like that, and I can actually curse the rain. So when it comes to your positive and negative, you have more choice about it than you would like to think, because you have your choice about how you look at it. You have your choice about how you interact with it. That does not mean that it does not, you know, cause some issues with you, and it definitely does not mean that you're not valid in your way of looking at it. But I would offer to you that if you just change it just a little bit to kind of look at it from a perspective of an overall impact, again, using something as simple as rain, yes, it's going to cause Atlanta traffic to be crazier than ever, because obviously we know people can't drive in the rain. But at the same time, if I'm looking at the fact that out of the rain, all of the food and all of the, you know, washing away of pollen and things of that I also get out of that, it kind of lessens the impact for me to be literally cussing at the rain as I drive through the Atlanta traffic. Also, maybe it made me slow down. Maybe it made me arrive to my destination alive. So it all has its benefits, again, just depending on how you look at it. And that's what I would like to offer you on the positive versus negative. It's okay to be entertained a little bit. We all like to look at the train wreck every now and then, but make sure that you're definitely keeping your eye on the prize, which is the positive outlook on how it can benefit you, how it can benefit somebody else, and just overall, what makes you feel good. When you're looking at positive stuff, you're going to feel a lot better, which is also going to affect your health physically and mentally. So take advantage of those little small things that you can do that don't require a prescription. And you can use that one step at a time in your quest to look at positive versus negative, hopefully on a more positive side. And that's my 2 cents for tonight.
All right, positive versus negative. You heard the Chief Perspective Officer. Mm-hmm. Look at it as a positive and a negative.
Yeah, you can do both, but let's lean a little bit more toward the positive side.
Positive side. Okay, I love that. Thank you once again for that perspective.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Listen, make sure now you tune in to the upcoming platform on this YouTube channel. I feel like these episodes coming up are going to be dynamite for you to watch. So again, make sure, because I don't want you to miss out on any of the content that we're going to present to you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell for me. Because I want you to get what you can and share it. Just share people. If it's no more than sharing her perspective on stuff, just share the link to people. That'll be awesome. And it gets the word out to somebody who may need to hear what you've talked about. You know what I'm saying? So, for my radio audience, tell those folks where they can listen to the show if they want to listen.
Yes, so go ahead and download the ATL Talks app. Again, you can download it through iHeart, but if you want to catch all of the great content that is on the platform altogether, including Candid Conversations with G, download the app directly through Google or Apple. And again, that's ATL Talks. Also, what we'd like to do, if you're interested in being on the show, drop us an email at ccwithg@gmail.com, or you can DM us at GSoCandid on IG, as well as Tabs2Cents. Thanks again.
Yes, just make sure you're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Or if you're visiting, just let me know.
Visit.
But, I'll definitely.
They might want to catch a flight.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to come out here now, I ain't putting you up in there.
Not
come
yet.
out here on your own.
We're working on that budget.
But if you're interested in sharing some of your ideas, well, not ideas, just some of your thoughts and opinions on stuff that you have dealt with in the past, and you feel like you want to just kind of share it and maybe help somebody else down the line, you want to come on here in the platform and be a guest, please feel free to hit us up and let us know your story, what you want to talk about, and we'll definitely try to have you on to make sure that you're getting your story told, because sometimes you just need that one piece of a platform to get your story out and get it out there. So we're here for that reason, because we are such big advocates on mental health, emotional control, and just making sure that our minds are strong as individuals. You know what I'm saying? So feel free to do that at any time.
That's right. We're here to support Life is in Session.
We are. Life is in Session, and everybody has a backstory. So
yes, trademark.
We're ready to go. So listen, Tab, when will we be back?
We will be back this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, so if you're in Atlanta, that's 10. If you're somewhere on the west, what is the west? 7. If you're down south, that's 6. Oh, I'm sorry, 9.
No, if you're
9.
down south.
It's 9.
No, they're on the same time as us. You're talking of
they're
Central.
not. Not all of them on the same, because Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, they're not on the same time.
Right, Florida is though.
Okay,
That would be considered south, though.
I don't consider Florida south, but
Where
it is. But
south?
I don't consider I don't consider Georgia south to me. I feel like it's more northern.
Really?
Like when you get, because it's just different. I don't consider this the south. Like I consider Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi more southern than Atlanta. I mean, than
Okay,
Georgia.
so southern, but still. Okay.
Yeah, you
So
get what I'm
different
saying?
than Southern.
Yeah,
I
but
get
that's
you.
just me. I'm not the only person that thinks like that, but that's just me. Because it gets a little more northerny up this way, like when you go into the Carolinas and going up. But
Okay.
yes, it's 9 o'clock down there. Florida's on the same time. West is 7. Yeah, and up
So West is Pacific time.
Yeah.
So that's 3 hours behind. Then you
Yeah.
have Mountain time, which is 2 hours. Then Central.
Yeah, so you can catch us all over the globe. You get me? We're here.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So thank you for
Download
listening
that
tonight. Thank you for listening every night. The faithful listeners,
The new listeners.
the new listeners, the new people who's catching the visuals, because sometimes y'all just want to catch some facial expressions. That was the most things I heard. We want to see it. So you have visual people, you have people that listen. Either way you catching this info, we appreciate you.
We do. Thank you.
So thank you so much from the bottom of our heart. We love you to the moon and back. Listen, please remember to surround yourselves with positive, like-minded individuals and protect your mental energy.
Selfish.
Be damn it, be selfish. Ain't nothing wrong with being selfish.
That's
you
right.
Be selfish.
Tell them Tab and G said it.
You selfish son of a. You be selfish, okay? And listen, in the great words of the late, great Jerry Springer, take care of yourselves and each other, but you got the right to be selfish. Now, I added that on the back end. You be selfish, okay? Love yourselves, though. It starts at the house first.